Hello, welcome to part 2 of my October 2013 video game pickups video. I'm going to move on with the only GameCube game I bought last month. It's a remake of one of my favourite games of all time, and that is Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes. Now, this was remade, I believe, around 2003, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was using the Metal Gear Solid 2 engine, and it was actually made by Silicon Knights, who made Eternal Darkness on the Nintendo GameCube. I haven't had a chance to actually play this, but it's one of these games I've been hunting for quite some time. Cost me around 30 quid, which is kind of pricey, I know, but this game's quite hard to find, and it goes for ridiculous money on eBay. So yeah, I thought I'd pick it up. You know, it was in the cash converter, so I thought, screw it, why not? And lastly, I've got a couple of PS2 games to show you. The first one is Brothers in Arms, Road to Hill 30, which I believe was the first Brothers in Arms game. I did buy Brothers in Arms Earned in Blood, I believe it was called, last month, which was I believe the sequel to this one. And yeah, it's developed by Gearbox, who most famously make the Borderlands games, and less notably Aliens Colonial Marines, but I won't talk about that. And yeah, it's a pretty interesting first-person shooter set in World War II. It seems to be a little bit more tactical, which is unusual for games like this one to be like more tactical. Usually they're like Medal of Honor or Call of Duty, which is a lot more sort of action, like run and gun sort of base. But yeah, it looks interesting. Next up, we have a collection of games, and that is Rayman 10th Anniversary. This comes with Rayman M, Rayman Revolution, which I believe is Rayman 2, and Rayman 3 Hool'em Havoc. Now, I did own Rayman 2 on the 3DS, and also had Rayman 3 separately on the PS2, but I decided to sell these when I found this for about £2, which is an absolute steal. I'm not really bothered about Rayman M because it's sort of like a sort of party game, and doesn't really interest me that much. But the fact that I have Rayman 2 and 3 in one collection, and a pretty decent version of Rayman 2 as well, I'm quite happy with that. So yeah. Next up, we have The Getaway. Now, I did actually play this originally when this first came out, and it frustrated the hell out of me. I got to the very end of Mark, who's this guy right here. It's like main sort of story. It was the section on the boat. I believe it was something Del Sol, I believe it was, and it was just an absolute nightmare. You go through wave after wave after wave of enemies, and then you end up. I ended up dying by like a giant box falling on my head. So it's just like, fuck this. I just had enough, because the game at that point just became an absolute chore. And playing it recently, it has the aiming and the controls and general stuff like that is still as clunky and unuser friendly as I remember back in the day. But I sort of gonna make it my goal to beat games like this, so I can be like, yes, I finally accomplished something, you know. And I also got the Getaway Black Monday, which I have never played because I never beat the first one, so I sort of skipped this one. But apparently they did improve a lot of the problems with the first game, so I thought I'd pick it up and give it a shot, you know, and see if that's true or not. Next up, we have kind of an underrated gem from what I've played so far, and that's Beat Down Fist of Vengeance. Graphically, not the most impressive game out there, but gameplay wise, it's quite decent. It's a 3D beat 'em up with a rather sort of interesting story to it. There's multiple characters you can play as, and yeah, from what I played so far, it's pretty interesting. It's kind of like similar to Urban Reign, which I showed you in the previous video. So yeah, that looks interesting. Next up, we have the sequel to another game I bought recently, and that's Resident Evil Outbreak File 2. Pretty similar to the first one. The most notable difference I've noticed so far is that there's sort of zombie zoo animals in this game, like elephants and monkeys and things like that, crocodiles, stuff like that. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I would have liked to see Capcom do something like this now, where the sort of online player is a lot more. The sort of online infrastructure is we have a better infrastructure now than we did back then, when we had like stuff like dial-up, and now at least we have broadband where things sort of work most of the time. So I've been interested to see how this would work in today's gaming environment. So I'm sort of hoping that Capcom will do something like this in the future, but then again, it's Capcom, and at the moment they're failing badly, to say the least. But enough. We'll probably get to that in another video sometime. And finally, this is a game that I have been searching for years. I'm not even kidding about that. Ever since I watched it in during an episode of Consolvania, and the moment I saw it, I was just sort of fascinated by it. But the problem is, it was the release in this country. It was sort of a lot of copies weren't released in this country, to be honest, and for years I've been trying to track this down, and finally I found someone on Facebook who had this for a reasonable price. It was more than your sort of standard new retail release, but it wasn't more than much. It wasn't by much, let's put it that way. But yeah, I've teased you enough. The game I'm talking about is Michigan Report from Hell. Now, this is a Grasshopper game by Suda51, and as you probably know from my previous videos, I love Suda51, anything to do with Suda51. And yeah, basically you play as a cameraman who joins up with this journalist crew, and you basically have to uncover these sort of the sort of mystery of this like town, and why people have been sort of disappearing, and why like strange things have been going on. You basically have like loads of choices to you can either help people when they're in danger, or you can be a complete bastard and just keep filming just for the purposes of a story. And it's really unique, unlike many games out there. And yeah, the voice acting is absolutely terrible, but I love games like this because the voice acting is terrible. It sort of really adds to its charm, and yeah, I'm so happy to finally have this game in my collection, because as I've said, I've been waiting years to find a copy of this, like especially like a proper sort of English version where like everything, including the case and the manuals, all in English. So yeah, really happy to finally have that in my collection. Yeah, that is it for my October 2013 video game pickups. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed showing you all what I got this month. And yeah, stay tuned for all the pickups I make in November. Stay tuned. Take care.